Today, some of you who've heard me talk before, some of this might be review for you, but I do encourage you to kind of pay attention and go through it with us, because I know there's going to be some things that are going to be brought up that you haven't heard yet. And then maybe some things that you forgot about that I'm going to remind you of here today to prepare for your showcase. So on your showcase, the best thing that you can do is look up your performer manual if you have access to the lounge. There's a performer manual that's on there. I encourage performers, go to the performer manual and print it out and read through it. I personally have not read through it. I apologize. I'm telling you guys to do this, but I personally haven't read from start to finish. But please do. There's a lot of useful information in there for you guys that is going to help you prepare for your showcase. Today, I'm basically going to talk about kind of the main points that you'll find in there. I might be a little more heavy on the Germany. I do apologize, those of you who are not attending Germany showcase this weekend, next weekend. But the reason why I'm going to be talking a lot about that is because I'm going to be there. I'm excited. I love Germany. I haven't been there in a little while. So I'm going to be there. And of course, that one's coming up this weekend. Now, showcases, let's rewind all the way back and talk about what these events that you're going to be a part of, they're all termed differently, right? But essentially, what is it? Can anybody put in the chat what the showcase is for? Somebody real quickly, 10 of you, one of you, whoever wants to do that. Put in for me what the showcase is for. To perform and show our talents. Yes. To show what you've learned, to present yourself. Yeah, those are all good answers. So to get an agent and show what you have. Yeah, exactly. Those are all the correct answers, but let me simplify it even more for you guys. I get on these Zoom sessions with you guys, and I'm sometimes in the background. I say hi to you guys, and then I'm sitting in the background, like listening to the agent, the manager, whoever's, on there. And I hear that when they open up for questions, I hear some people ask occasionally, how do I get an agent? And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're asking an agent right now how you get an agent. Like, you should be asking, hey, so what should I do to prepare for meeting somebody as good as you? Like make them feel good, right? Like, don't say, how do I get an agent, right? That's the whole point of you being a part of this program and being in these showcases, is to hopefully get an agent, right? To get representation. That's what we're looking for. But yeah, to show your talents. Now, you guys all answered my question, but to simplify it, the showcase is an audition. You guys all had an audition to begin with, to be accepted into a program, right? Now, with the audition, a lot of people always audition, and then not everybody gets accepted. Some of you were on like auditions where there was 400 or 500 people that auditioned that day, or maybe only 100 people audition that day. Who knows, right? It all varies, but not everybody gets accepted. Not everybody gets to be a part of the callback process. So the showcase, the event that you're going to, is a place to show off yourself, of course, like we talked about, to show your talents, to show your personality, show your model walk, to show who you are. But it's also an audition, because there's going to be representatives at your showcase that are watching, and they're there to find good talent. They're there to find the next superstar. They're there to find you, right? So for example, this Munich showcase that's coming up, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be a part of the group. And the reason I'm there is to find good talent to work with, to represent. I work with talent all over the world. My management company, we work worldwide, and I'm always looking for good talent in different parts of the world. And that's why I'm excited about coming to Munich and seeing you guys perform. And that's the point of the showcase. It's an audition, right? So if you do a good job and you get up and you perform and you do well, you might get a callback. Just like you guys did on your first audition here with the program, you received a callback, and then, that's the way it works, right? So essentially, the program is set up to prepare you guys for the industry, whether you want to be a model or actress or a professional rock star. Whatever you want to be, that's what this is for, is to get you guys representation. But it's actually more than that. And we'll talk about that today. But that's the end goal. Let's talk about auditions. So the showcase, you're going to get up and perform and walk a runway or do your commercial, your monologue, your acting. Is everybody going to get a yes at the showcase? Will everybody receive a callback? No, not everybody's going to receive a callback. I have never been to a showcase where 100% of the performers have received a callback. If you have, maybe that wasn't quite true that everybody received a callback. Maybe it wasn't a real callback. No. Or if there's only two of you, obviously both of you could receive this if it's a small showcase, right? But if we're talking a large showcase, let's say there's 50 performers there, and amongst the talent, the agents, the managers that are there looking for talent, they're not going to give everybody a callback. I don't give everybody a callback. That's just the nature of this business. So you have to learn that not every audition you're going to receive a callback. You're going to hear more no's in this business than you will hear yes. And I know you guys have heard this maybe before from other people, but that's just the reality of it. So you get up, you do a good job at the showcase. That's all you can do. Just do the best you can. And then you hope for the best, right? And we hope to receive a callback. So on that, what do we do if we don't receive a callback at our showcase? Can somebody put that in the chat? What happens if we don't get a callback? So basically the showcase is an audition. We're hoping to receive a callback from the agents, the reps that are there. We get up, we perform, we do a great job, but we do not receive a callback. Veronica says, we don't give up. Miriam, we try harder. Try harder. Yep. Wait for the next opportunity. Yeah. That's easy to say, right? Keep going. Keep your head up. But in reality, if we get up, we do a good job, we don't receive a callback. Let's all be honest. We can spend a day crying. All right, we'll be upset. We'll be depressed for a day. Okay, we'll eat lots of chocolate and binge watch our favorite Netflix series. Okay, and then after that, then we get up and keep trying. Okay, let's all agree to that at least. Give ourselves a moment to feel sorry for ourselves. Like we have to do that, right? We can't just be happy all the time. That's not reality. But no, obviously we all want this. You know, that's why you guys are all here. You guys are showing me that this is something that you're passionate about. This is something that you want. And of course, we all want to receive that callback. You guys are probably here because you were inspired by somebody. There was probably somebody that you follow on Instagram, maybe a famous model or an actress or an actor, you know, somebody that you like, that you appreciate watching them perform. Like maybe there's a movie, maybe it's your favorite movie actor, and every time they're in that movie, you watch that movie, right? Like if you see a movie trailer coming up this Christmas and you see that they're going to be in this movie, somebody put Anne Hathaway. Yeah, exactly, right? There's somebody out there that you're like, oh, I'm going to go see that movie, no matter what it could be the world's worst movie, but your favorite actor or actress is there. So you're going to go watch it no matter what. You're inspired by somebody. Speaking of Anne Hathaway, she has received more no's in her career than she's received yes. Believe it or not. I know that can be shocking to you. We know the ones that she received a yes for, because those are the ones that we see her perform. And that's how we know who she is. But she has auditioned for parts in the past that she really wanted, just like each of you. And there's probably movies that she probably does not want to watch today because she didn't get that role. Maybe she auditioned for it way back in the early parts of her career. And so whenever she's scrolling through Netflix and then the little movie poster pops up, and she's like, oh, let's skip that. We're definitely not watching that. That was a horrible movie. No, I'm not saying that's how Anne is. I don't know her personally. I say that as an example. There are roles that she probably really wanted. I know this for a fact that she did not receive. She put a lot of work and effort and passion behind to audition for it. And then they didn't call her back. They chose some other actress. So that happens to every single famous actor and actress and model that you know of today, but they've been persistent enough and they've learned to get past those no's, to keep going, to give themselves the best opportunity. And now we know who they are. Now they're famous people that are household names. Now people are bringing auditions to them and saying, Anne, I really want you to be in my movie. Please, please, please. Here's the script. Please read this. It's perfect. I wrote it just for you. This does happen. They don't go to her personally. They're going through like layers, like publicists, personal assistants. They're meeting people at a restaurant. They're like, oh, you're Anne's personal assistant. Okay, I got a movie script. Here, can you hand this to her? And I promise you, she's not seeing all of that because it's being filtered out. That's what happens when you become famous. You have a layer, a filter, people who are filtering information for you so that you don't get bombarded all the time You can't just spend all your days just reading random movie scripts. We want you guys to learn that you're going to hear more no's. But at this showcase, I want you guys to do a great job. I want you guys to all hear a yes. That's why I'm here today. So we're going to make sure and do the best we can to make sure that we hopefully get a yes at your showcase coming up, whether it's next year or if it's coming up next week. A lot of people put a lot of weight on their performance. You practice and practice and practice your lines, your material, your commercial, your model walk. But I want to tell you that it's not even just about that. I'll explain why that is. It is about that a little bit, but it's a smaller part of that than you think. A lot of people think that's 100% of what the showcase is about. If I do a great job with my lines, or if I do a great job with my song, or if I do a great job with my model walk, then I'll get a call back. And that's not necessarily true. I can talk for me as a manager. I can't talk for all the other reps who are there, but you have to understand that I kind of think the same way as the other reps do. So the other agents and managers who are going to be at your events, I look at the whole picture. And that's why I enjoy being on these sessions is I want to meet you. I want to know who you are as a person. I want to know who you really are. I make it a rule that I don't ever work with somebody that I wouldn't feel comfortable having a home cooked dinner with them. So meaning that if I don't feel comfortable coming over to their house or them coming over to my house and having a prepared meal together, then I don't want to work with them. That's the way I look at it. I want to be that much of a friend or have that much of a relationship with my clients that I feel comfortable enough to be able to do that. And the reason is because as a manager, I work for free for all my clients until they book something. Everybody's working on a commission and everybody wants their job to be easy, right? So if you're my client, let's just say I see Winnie there. Let's just say Winnie does a great job. And Winnie, I loved your attitude and your performance. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give her a call back, and I meet with her and I decide, wow, she's great. I need to have her on my roster. I need her on my team. So we decide to work together and I start working with her as her manager. I want to feel like Winnie can book something tomorrow, ideally, right? Because if she does, then she gets paid. And of course, when she gets paid, I get paid. I could buy myself some more coffee. I love coffee. I want you guys to work hard so I can get more coffee in my life. The reality is, though, is that I might get her auditions and start submitting her on projects, and she might not book anything for a year. She might not book anything for 2 years. What happens with these auditions is when you submit your auditions, casting's job, their one job as a casting director is just to find one person. So if they're seeing 100 people, if they're seeing 200 people, they can only hire one person for that one role. They might need 4 or 5 different roles, but they only need one person for each of those opportunities. They might be looking for a male model and a female model for their project, but they can only find one female model for their role. They can only fill one. That doesn't mean that they don't like what they're seeing. So if Winnie gets an audition, I submit her material and she records herself or whatever that audition was for, and the casting director says no to her, that doesn't mean she didn't do a good job. It doesn't mean that the casting didn't even like her. They may have loved her. They may have just had a really difficult time choosing between her and that other person, and they decided to go with the other person for whatever reason, whatever small reason. As a professional photographer, I did that for well over 10, 15 years. I had studios in both New York and LA. I would have times where I had photo shoots and the clients would say, send me your 3 best. I want the 3 best images from that particular campaign. And I would have maybe 400 images that we took. So I would go through 400 images. And this is just of let's just say one person. So I'm not like choosing between everybody, right? Let's just say I just took 400 images of this particular model during the photo shoot. And the client asked me to send my 3 favorites. Well, there's been times, I promise you, this happens a lot, where there was 20 of my favorites. And I'm looking at these 20 going, man, okay, how do I eliminate 17 photos? Which ones do I want to get rid of? And so I start, and I know this happens with casting. I've never personally been in casting, I have friends who have been involved in casting. I have friends who are currently casting directors, but I know that they're looking at these, audition tapes and they're thinking the same thing that I used to think about with photos. I used to be like, okay, all right, well, the head's turned a little this way on that image, so that one's not as good as this one. And sometimes I'd have to take a break. I'd step away. I'd go walk my dog around the block. She loves being outside in New York. She loves that. She loves all the energy. So walk around the block in New York and I'd come back. I'd be like, okay, these are the 12 images. Let me just see which ones jump out at me the quickest. And I'm just like looking at them like real quick and I'm like, oh, that one, like which one catches my eye, right? I know that casting has the same issue when they have to only choose one person for these auditions. So that doesn't mean that Winnie didn't do a good job. Maybe they loved her. Maybe they had a hard time getting rid of her. But that's just the nature of the business. So that's why you're going to hear more no's than you will hear yes. But Winnie might work, she might audition, say 2 years before she books something. I hope not. I hope she would book, if she was in my client, that she book something next week, right? But if she works 2 years and if she's really got a great personality and really positive, and if I email her and she responds pretty quickly, or I text her and I get a response, I don't have to hunt her down. I don't have to say, hey, Winnie, I have an audition for you. Hey, Winnie, did you see my audition? And then no response. And then a couple days later, hey, Winnie, I know you're probably busy, but did you get that audition I sent over to you? If she's proactive and she's really good about responding to me, then I'm going to keep her as a client, even if it's been a couple years, because I don't want to replace her. I've already worked with her for 2 years. I have high hopes for her. I know she's going to do a great job if I reach out to her. So that's the reason why I want to work with good clients. And that's why it's not about just your commercial, your performance, your runway walk. It's about who you are as a person. And those of you who are under the age of 18, it's also about your parents. Raise your hand out there if you're under the age of 18. So I see who you are. Okay, I see you out there. What I mean by that is you might be really great talent-wise. You might be fantastic. I've had this happen to me. I'm going to give this as an example. I'm not going to mention names. There's a performer who I love. She's great. She was a younger performer. I want to say she was about 10 years old when I first saw her. Lots of energy, great personality, just one of those people that you see and you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad you're here because you're a rock star. This is obviously what you enjoy doing. You love getting up and performing and doing all this, but her parents were crazy. And the reason I know this is because I worked with her. I saw her at a showcase. I worked with her on some Zoom sessions and I would hear some of the parent questions, and I'd see what the parents are doing behind the scenes. And I'm like, okay, this is like a pageant mom. Does anybody know what a pageant mom is? Like somebody that kind of hovers a lot and just has to get her hands on everything and make sure that the hair is perfect and the eyebrows are perfect and the makeup's perfect and everything's perfect, right? And if she moves too fast a certain way, oh, let's fix the hair again and let's make sure that we're perfect. So that's the kind of parents they were, is they were kind of hovering a lot. And so I asked Denise, who deals with a lot of the questions that performers send to her and her team. I'm like, Denise, real quickly, this performer, I really love her. How are her parents? And then of course, Denise confirmed what I thought, what I saw. I've seen thousands of people in my career, so I'm a pretty quick read of how somebody is. Not 100% accurate all the time. I'm not saying that, but I see enough to know kind of what to expect. So Denise is confirmed. She said yes. Her parents are a little crazy. I get a lot of emails from them. So to me, I thought, okay, she's great. I really would love to have her as my client, but I don't know if I can handle 100 emails from mom every day. I'm working for free. Mom's not paying me anything. And if I'm getting 100 emails, I have other clients. I'm busy. I have casting directors I'm working with and directors and different agents and my clients, and I have to spend time with my people. They all deserve that. I don't have time to just spend on one person answering 100 emails a day from mom. So I declined her at the showcase, and an agent friend of mine brought her on. They decided to give her a call back. Everybody loved her. She got a lot of callbacks. Well, she got signed with an agent and a manager at that particular showcase we were at. And, that was it. So guess what? A year later, I see her at the same showcase. And here she was. And mom comes right up to me. Hi, Jeremy. I'm so glad you're here this year. You know what? I dropped my manager just a couple months ago, just so you know. And I wanted to come to this showcase because I asked Denise if you're going to be here, and she said you were. I want you to represent my daughter. This is exactly what mom tells me. I was like, okay, great. I'm glad you guys are here. Good to see you guys again. People that I know, right? I've worked with them in the past. And yeah, we'll see how she does this weekend, and we'll see what happens. Well, anyways, same thing. She does great. She gets a lot of callbacks. And I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, I'm watching the parents and I'm thinking, okay, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so what I thought is, well, let me do this. I know a lot of people in this business. That's part of my job, is to make sure my clients get good agents and work with good reps. So let me reach out to her manager. I know who her manager is. Let me text him and find out what happened. Why was this manager dropped a month ago, right? So I text him. I'm like, hey, just reaching out. I saw your client at the showcase and they were saying that they're no longer working with you. Why is that? And he texts back, oh my gosh, mom is so crazy. She was emailing me like 100 times a day. I could not handle it anymore. I dropped her. That's what he says. Yeah, I laugh because I saw that coming a mile away, right? I saw what that was going to be. So I say all this. This is a crazy story. This doesn't happen all the time, but I say all this to say that it's more about just who you are in this industry than it is about your performance. I see performers mess up on stage, and I still give them a call back because I got a chance to meet them. I saw them on Zoom and I saw them in person on the showcase weekend, and I talked to them and I'm like, man, this is a great performer. And maybe if they're under the age of 18 and their parents are around, I'm like, man, I love their parents. They're great. These guys would be somebody really easy to work with. I know that they can do it. They just got nervous in front of everybody on the day of their performance. And so to me, that's not a big deal. It doesn't matter if you mess up on stage. If you do mess up, let's talk about that at your showcase. If you mess up, it's okay. Be professional with it. And I've seen enough showcases. I've seen this happen in multiple different ways. I've seen performers run off and cry after they mess up. Okay. Don't do that. That's just, I know there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of pressure. You want to do a great job. And maybe just those emotions just get a hold of you, and you're just like, oh, but don't run off and cry because it shows a little bit of unprofessionalism. If you do mess up, just take a breath. And if I'm sitting in front of you, I'll say, okay, let's restart. Go ahead and start from the beginning because we get it. It's not an easy thing to do, to put yourself in front of everybody and to perform. And I've seen models trip on the runways before and then they just get down on themselves, and I've seen dancers miss their steps and I've seen it all. It does happen, but obviously not for you guys. You guys are gonna be rock stars. That's why you're here today. We're talking about how to prevent all that. But if it does happen, remember it's not just about your walk. It's not just about your song, or it's not just about your dance. I know you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of work into it. I know that you guys are preparing. I know that that's why you're here. So let me talk about the showcase also, how I find good performers. The only way that I find good performers to represent is by a referral. And what I mean by that, so if I have an agent friend that says, hey, Jeremy, I have this client, they're great. They've been booking a lot of work lately, and they're getting so busy that they need a manager. Mom, I could tell mom needs help, or the client needs help. The client's trying to juggle a full-time job and school. And the agents aren't there to hold your hand. Agents' jobs, all they care about is just trying to get you booked and booked and booked and booked. That's all they want because they get paid if you book something. Whereas a manager, my job is to make sure you guys understand your material and that you're wearing the right outfit when you do your audition and that you're answering any questions when you're on set. Like if something comes up when you're on set and you're like, I don't know, Jeremy, what they're asking. Can you please find out for me? I'm the person that you reach out to ask those questions. So that's the one way I get a client, is by an agent friend who says, in fact, I interviewed a client this week who that was exactly what it was. A good friend of mine from LA has a client that she's working with, and she said this client's booking a lot of work and he needs a manager now. So I gave him your name. I said you guys need to reach out and hopefully you could be somebody that you'd be interested in. I had a Zoom session with them and had an interview, a callback essentially, right? Get to know who they are, get to meet them. But the other way I find good talent is through a showcase. Now on my website, there's a way that you can submit your form. So let's just say Sophia, I see you out there, Sophia, wave at me. Perfect. Let's say Sophia was looking for a manager and she was on my website and she's like, okay, I'm going to find a manager today. I'm going to reach out. I know that I could ask, right? I could ask around. So she's searching for manager and she comes across my website, and on my website says, if you're interested in being represented, please submit this form. You know how many forms a week I get? A lot. I don't count them. There's a lot of people in this world that want to do this. There's a lot of people that say, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actress. I've done this, I've done that, but I don't know them. I don't know them from any other person I'm walking down the street that walks past me. I don't know who they are. So I only find performers through a referral, a direct friend that's giving me a name of somebody I should reach out to, or at a showcase. I actually was on one of these sessions, one of the agents that was on, and I was in the background, I heard it, and he said the same thing. He's like, there's a form on our website that you can submit your information on. He's like, I did it twice. I reached out to two people on there and it was a mistake both times. It's just so that you can reach out. If I have people working under me that are looking for clients and trying to build up their roster, they will maybe reach out or look through those forms and see if there's anybody that piques their interest and schedule times. Me personally, I just don't have the time to do it. The reason I prefer the showcase option, coming to a showcase, being on an online showcase with you guys or being in person, is because number one, I get to meet who you are and say hi and chat. And number two, I know that you're serious about it. And the reason I know you're serious about it is because you're here today. There's 33 people here today that are with me. And in the program, there's probably a lot more than that. And they're going to watch this video on replay. But guess what? Every single person that's here today has taken extra steps to show me that they're serious. You registered to be a part of a program and you're saying, I'm here because I want to be here. I'm serious about this. And that's why I only choose performers who attend a showcase or by referral, because those are the only people that are serious about this. There's other people that are serious about this, but they think it's just going to be given to them. There's always a misconception. You guys have probably heard a lot of misconceptions. Being in this industry, if you're new, you're starting off, you're going to have people that are going to tell you things like your uncle, right? I hear this all the time. Well, my uncle said that if I'm going to be famous, they're going to love me and I'm going to be famous. I don't have to pay anything ever for anything. Like they'll just roll out the red carpets for me and I'll just be walking and taking pictures. And there's definitely something to that. If people love you, they're not going to not want to work with you. If you have a great personality, a great look, of course people will want to work with you, but it takes work. It takes effort. You're not just going to be walking down the street and become famous. It doesn't just happen that way. You have to make the effort to be a part of something. And you guys have all made the effort to be a part of this. The other thing is I always say too, when you hear people give you guys the doubt, if anybody's here on here today and you've heard that, you heard your best friend say, oh no, there's no way. You're going to go through a program there. There's no way you're going to get an agent. Number one, you have to understand that as you grow in popularity, as you become a part of stuff, people get jealous. People try to keep you down to their level. They don't have the courage to do something like what you're doing. So they're going to try to pull you down. And that could even be your best friends. You don't know who this is until it happens. Also, there's the experts. Everybody says, oh, I have this guy told my uncle or whoever told me this, but is your uncle in the business? Is he a working professional actor? Like where is he getting his great knowledge from? Like why are you using this uncle for advice? It's funny because whenever I'm outside of New York and LA are kind of the hubs of the entertainment world. And I spent years and years and years there, and I still do. And everybody in those worlds, those areas know the industry. They all know somebody who's involved in the industry. There's a pretty good knowledge of what being an actor or model, a professional singer is in those areas. But anything outside of those areas, there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of misunderstandings. And I always think, and I have people sitting in front of me, like on auditions, like their first auditions, I hear them say, my uncle's best friend is an agent in LA. And he said I shouldn't be a part of this program because it sounds fishy. And I think to myself, well, if you have a good connection with an agent in LA, why are you even on the Zoom call? Like, why are you even here, right? Use your connections. Use those people. Why aren't they representing you? If you have all this great industry knowledge that you're getting from somebody else, use that to your advantage. You should be a superstar, right? Why are you sitting asking for advice from somebody like myself if you have already all these experts around you? So be careful with who you take advice from, and always know that no matter what, the bigger you get of a performer, you're going to have the haters. And I've heard somebody say you really haven't succeeded in this world until you have haters. And it's true. You're going to have people on Instagram, no matter what. I promise you, look at your favorite actress. Go to their Instagram page and see when they post something and then read the comments. There's always going to be a hater there. Oh, that movie was awful. And why there's those haters, who knows? I think it's jealousy, but you have to learn that that's part of what this is. So you're gonna have to learn that there's always going to be a no, and you're always going to have haters, and that's fine. That's okay. Just you have to be okay with that. The biggest superstars out there are okay with it. I promise you. They went through a learning process. They like had to learn to not care. I was listening to a podcast from a famous actor. Somebody said, "What's the biggest piece of advice you can give?" He said, "Years ago, I had to learn to stop reading my Instagram posts." He said, "That changed everything for me." He says, "I post and then I just don't read what people are saying." I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but that was his method of dealing with just ignoring the haters. So you guys are in the right place. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are working hard. Read your manual, prepare for this audition, and hopefully you guys will get a yes. Now, there's a couple things in the manual. It talks about get your resume prepared. Okay, so make sure that you guys prepare your resume, have that ready for your showcase. If you're doing virtually, you'll want to email the resume ahead of time. If you're coming in person, you're going to bring it with you in on the weekend that you're there for your showcase. Have your resume ready. Now, headshots are very important, but it's something that it's not needed for your showcase. It's not required. And I know some of you have different opportunities that you've registered for that do include headshots and that sort of thing, which is great. You guys will get that done. You'll get some updates, some stuff. Some of you already have it done. Some of you maybe already had headshots taken, 6 months ago, a year ago. You have a great headshot you're using. That's perfectly fine. You make sure you bring that with you or email it. See what the manual tells you. I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. The manual will tell you how to either submit your headshot or bring your headshot to your event. Now, if you don't have that done, does that mean you can't showcase? No, it doesn't mean you can't showcase, but let's talk about the headshots. It's important because it's something that I need. So if you guys do a great job at the showcase, I will give you a call back. Myself and the other colleagues that will be there that day will ask you to submit material. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I could promise you that almost everybody does the same thing that I do. And what I do is I say, I saw you, let's say for Munich. I saw you at the Munich showcase in Germany this last weekend. Great job. I loved it. I gave you a call back. Can you please send me your headshot, your resume, and a video self-tape? Video yourself doing a performance. I want to see how you look on camera. That's what I ask for my clients. If you sang, I ask you to record yourself singing. If you walk the runway, I ask that you re-record yourself doing a model walk. I want to see how well you can do a self-tape. Now, you would be surprised how many times I do that and I don't get a response. So for one, follow up. If you do get a call back, follow up, do the effort. I think some people get scared or they're like, oh, I want to make it perfect. And then they spend a lot of time trying to make it perfect and they don't think it's perfect. So they just end up not doing it. But the reason I need that material, especially like the headshots, is because I cannot submit you on projects. I can't do anything with you until I have your headshot. I need that for the casting websites. I need that to be able to submit you to auditions. So I need headshots, resumes. I need that material. I'm asking for it so that I see what you have. And if you don't have it done properly, I want you to have it done properly. So, headshots. Somebody asked what headshots are. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. This is like a headshot here. This beautiful Cheyenne right there. We have, let's see, I have one here. Nate. I have lots of headshots. He used to do photography. Nate. great headshot of him, right? This is an industry standard headshot. Now, as a professional photographer, I know what a good headshot and what an industry standard headshot should look like. And I also know what a selfie looks like. All right. So don't try to pass a selfie off as your headshot. I see you guys laughing. I promise you it's true. I've had people say, send me your headshot, and they're sending me, I'm like, okay, this is a selfie you just took in the car. And I can see that. I can see the steering wheel. I'm not blind. No, you know what I mean? It's quality headshots. This is a com card. This is little Angelo here. I remember this kid. This kid is great. I love this guy. I should follow up with mom. I should give this guy a call back. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. He was a little young. I remember now. You see, you guys distract me. Angelo, he was from Miami. Anybody in Miami out there? Miami, as others say it. Little Angelo's from Miami. He was 5 years old at the time. His English wasn't that great. Spanish is his first language. Heavy English learning it, right? I should reach out. He's probably a couple years older now. It's a cute kid. Look at this little rock star. He's great. He danced for his showcase. Let me tell you, he got a standing ovation. The crowd went wild. I promise you, everybody was applauding. Even I was. It was so great. This kid loves. I should reach out. I'm going to set that aside. I might have a new client next week. Let's see what Angela's up to. So anyways, that's what, headshots. I need these headshots done. I want the eyes to be the focus of your headshot. So don't wear jewelry, don't wear necklaces, wear solid colors. I saw somebody's headshot once. He was wearing a Gucci hat. He had a Gucci jacket, a Gucci shirt. And I was like, is this an ad for Gucci? Like, what is this? What's happening here? I was just so distracted by what he was wearing, right? Solid color. This one's great. It's got a great smile. Oh, the hair is falling off, covering your eyes a little bit. So me personally, I want the hair back. I want to see your face, right? You want this to be kind of a blank canvas, who you are, no distractions, little pop of color, something to be the focus is your eyes and your face. You want to draw them in with that, okay? So watch your backgrounds, make sure your backgrounds aren't distracting. Make sure that your clothing isn't distracting. Make sure if you're wearing earrings, they're not like dangling earrings or just like little hoops or little studs, stuff like that. So no necklaces along the neckline. Oh, the other thing about this particular headshot, and I'm sure with this, it looks like it was done professionally. This one that you submitted to me in the chat looks like it was done professionally. So I'm assuming that you probably have a few more options, right? The other thing is that you have the hand kind of up on the face here is how it looks. And then the hair is kind of draped. So I would want the hair away from the face. And then the hand, I don't want what we call it in the photography world, that hand that I see right there is called a floating hand. And I'll give you guys an example, those of you who can't see this. Her hand is like this. And as a photographer, I call this a floating hand. And what this means is like, is this even my hand? Or is this the hand of somebody next to me? Cousin It, right? On the Addams Family. Was it the hand? Is that the name of the hand? The little hand that runs around the movie in the Addams Family. No, that's not it, right? Is it? No, it's the hairy guy. What's the name of the hand? Anyways. So, that's what we call a floating hand. So if you have hands, you want to make sure you're kind of seeing elbows with those hands, right? You want to see them connected to the body themselves. You don't want to like this, right? That's called a floating hand right there. Jeremy, you're getting punched in the face by somebody's hand. So try to just make sure that your headshots are really just face focused. That's the important part. Headshots aren't good. If you don't have them for the showcase, you could of course still attend, you could still perform, but just know that if you do get a call back, that will be one of the first things that the reps ask from you. Okay. We want to have those done. We need those to submit you on those audition sites. Lastly, and then I'm going to open it up for a few questions. A couple of things is always be on your best behavior at any audition that you attend, even the showcase, which is an audition for agents and reps. And I say this story, I've said it a few times. Some of you may have heard this story before, but I just want to re-say it again. It's important. Like I said in the beginning, it's not just about your actual stage performance. I was at a showcase once and there's an agent sitting next to me and we went into a break and everybody got up to leave and I was chatting with an agent friend of mine and I was sitting there and one of the agents came back who was sitting next to me and he sat down and we had a sheet of paper that had all the performers listed, who we were giving callbacks to. We were kind of keeping notes of that. And I saw him flip through the paper and then he crossed off a name. He took his pen and he literally just did this, right? And I said, I was like, oh, I said, what happened there? I saw you're crossing, this person's off, and let's just call her Sarah. I don't remember what her name was actually, but he's like, oh, I was out in the hallway just now, coming back from break, and I saw Sarah fighting with her mom, and just the way that they were talking to each other. He's like, I just decided I did not want to work with somebody like that. So whatever he saw, I don't know, I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but whatever he witnessed, whatever he saw during that break, he decided to not call Sarah back. What I'm talking about is that it's not just your performance. You're always being watched. Okay. And it's more about who you are, right? It's who you are as a person overall is who they want to work with. They want to work with people who are easy, who are great personalities, who have good attitudes, who show up on time, people who are ready to go, who are prepared and ready to go. Are you always going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Is every professional that's in this industry perfect all the time? Absolutely not. I was working on set once with Cameron Diaz. I don't know if you guys know who Cameron Diaz is. She's been in several movies. I've been on set with her, and there was one time we were working and she literally could not get her line. It was just one of those moments. There was just a simple line and she just kept messing up, and she must have messed up like 20 times. It was so frustrating to her, and she was like so embarrassed, and she was laughing about it, and then they're having to retake, and she's like, she's just got kind of got in a funk, like just kind of got distracted by something, and then of course not getting it right again, just distracts you more. So let me just tell you, even the most experienced professionals in this business are not always getting it right, right? You don't have to be perfect, right? But you have to be workable. You have to be somebody that's easy to work with, somebody that enjoys what they're doing. These types of productions can be long hours. They could be tired, and you don't want to ever show that you're tired, right? If they call you to set and you've been like taking a little break and they're like, okay, Jeremy, we need you to set, they don't want me to be like, when is this day going to end? Man. Okay. All right. I guess okay, let me go to set. What's my lines again? They don't want that attitude. They wanted to be like, okay, all right, 12 hours down, let's do this. Yeah, I'm here, guys. What are we doing now? That's the type of reality that they're looking for, is the people that are excited to be there, people that want to be there. Because even though it's exhausting, I have long days too. I have clients that are reaching out to me at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning and stuff. But I love what I do. And at the end of the day, even if it's a long day, if it's a stressful day, it's still rewarding. At the end of the day, I love what I do, right? I can look back at it and go, man, what did I learn from that day? That was a crazy day, right? What did I learn? So it's always about your attitude, always be in your best behavior, always have a good attitude. You're always being watched. You never know. When you show up to auditions in person, sometimes you guys will be selected to be at an audition in person. Maybe you're the top 3 candidates, right? And that does happen. They put you on retainer is what they call it. They put you on retainer, which means they're considering you heavily and you're in the running. Like say it's a main character for a new movie and you're put on retainer. How exciting is that? Then they might say, hey, so we're having a hard time deciding, and they don't usually tell you the details. They won't say, oh, it's between you and one other person, or it's between you and 5 people. They usually don't tell you the details. And so it's this unknown. You're on retainer. It's exciting. And then they say, hey, are you able to fly to LA on Thursday? The director wants to meet you in person. They might say that. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but sometimes they do. So if you decide, yes, I can do that, I'll be there. So you fly to LA, you show up at the studios, you're going to check in. There's going to be a security guard at the studio entrance. You're going to check in. You're going to be like, hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm here. I'm here to be a rock star. They want me. They called me here. My name's on the list. Double check that because I know it is. No, you're going to feel important, right? It's going to be amazing. You're going to be excited. Who wouldn't be excited for that opportunity? You're getting flown in. The directors want to meet you. Big opportunity, but always be in your best behavior, even with that security guard, even when you show up in the parking lot. Maybe you're having the worst day of your life. Maybe you got lost. You're running a few minutes behind. Please don't run late to your meeting. Okay, I'm going to tell you that as your manager. Please don't do that. But let's just say you got stuck in traffic and maybe they lost your bag on the flight. Okay, so maybe you're flying in from Australia and you had a 12-hour flight and you have 2 hours to get to the studio and your Uber driver got lost and they've lost your bag. So you don't even have your mascara. Okay, whatever, you're having the worst day of your life. You show up on set. I want this to be the best day ever. Okay, you're an actress now. You're an actor. So it all goes away. You take a breath. You're there at any audition from now on. at the showcase that you guys have coming up, whatever showcase that is, at any future auditions where you're in person, I want you to remember this. Best day ever while you're there. Just have a great time, be in your best mood. Remove all the negative that's maybe happening right before you got there. Remove all of that stuff. Take a breath. Best day ever. Show up, do your thing. And then once you leave that studio lot, worst day ever. You can go back to that. Okay. You can go back to being miserable or whatever was happening in your world, right? But always remember that, because again, you don't know when you're being watched. You're the security guard, then you're going to go and to a particular building. They're going to direct you where to park. They're going to tell you where to go. And I promise you, when you get there, there's probably going to be a sign-in sheet. There's going to be a receptionist, you're going to check in. You're going to not want to be like in that lobby, like complaining to your best friend. Oh my gosh, Sarah. Oh man, my flight was awful. I didn't get any sleep. The guy next to me was snoring the whole time. I didn't sleep at all. And they lost my bag. And my Uber driver was late. Don't do that. Don't be, because that receptionist, you don't know who that person is. They might be relaying messages to the person you're going to be meeting with, or you might have people walking in and out of that lobby. And maybe that director, you don't recognize him because you didn't recognize him in his hat and his street clothes. You've only seen him walk the red carpets. He might be walking right past you as you're on this phone, moaning about how awful of a day you've had to your best friend. And that might be a turnoff to him. Like it was for this agent who saw this argument happen between this performer and their mom in the hallway. You're always being watched. They want people that are workable, that are easy to work with, that are professional at all times. So remember that when you're at your showcase this weekend in Munich, and when you're at your showcase, even on virtually online, try to be present and be there and be professional the whole time, right? That's going to go a long ways. Last comment I want to leave you guys with, I'm going to open it up for a few questions before my next session begins. Okay, so I have another meeting I have to be on, but last thing I want to leave you guys with is that these showcases, these events, even this membership lounge that you guys are a part of, or these programs that you guys are a part of, remember that the opportunities are for you to take advantage of to network. Okay. And what I mean by that is you may not get a yes at your showcase, but Sophia, I'm going to pick on you because I see your hand raised over there. I love that you're here with us today. I'm going to pick on Sophia. Let's just say Sophia and I are at the same showcase together, and I'm a performer too, right? And we both have the same goals. Our goals are to get a call back from an agent or manager at our showcase. So Sophia and I are sitting there, we're hanging out, and we're in the showcase weekend, and maybe we're sitting next to each other, as we're learning through some of the workshops and different things that are happening. And I introduce myself. I'm like, "Hi, Sophia, I'm Jeremy. Where are you from? Where do you live? Nice to meet you. How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 28-ish, roughly, somewhere there." I forget my age. It happens. As you get older, you forget all the time how old you are. But no, I'm making friends with Sophia. But guess what? What happens if Sophia got a call back and I didn't? I'm sad. I'm discouraged, but I'm going to keep going, right? I'm going to keep going, and I move on with my life. Well, guess what? What if Sophia does amazing, gets a call back, and her agent puts her auditions her for a project a week later, and she lands the role? Like it just happened to be the right place at the right time, and she gets the part. And let's say 6 months later, she's on a movie set and she's filming this movie. And let's just say she's the daughter of one of the main characters in the movie. And it's a big part, like it's a big role. She's on the screen next to this famous, let's just say Brad Pitt is her dad. And she's in this blockbuster film. And so she's 6 months later filming this movie with Brad Pitt. And then guess what? It takes a while for these movies to come out. So a year later, the summer blockbuster movies are happening. And all of a sudden you're watching the trailer. Me, Jeremy, I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, "There's Sophia. Look, there she is next to Brad. Oh my gosh, how awesome is that?" For one, I would be telling all my friends all the time, "Oh, you guys gonna see that new Brad Pitt movie?" "Yeah, I know Sophia. Yeah, we were sitting together at the showcase." "Does she know me?" "I don't know if she remembers me." "Yeah, I mean, we met, right?" Or this could be the other scenario. Sophia and you could hit it off. I'm like, "Hey, Sophia, here's my Instagram. I want you to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to follow you," right? And then she's posting on her Instagram 6 months from now, "Hey, got an audition. I'm now on set. Here's my, she's taking selfies of her and Brad Pitt together and stuff. And I'm following her on Instagram. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm reaching out to her. Sophia, that's awesome. That's amazing. What happens is so if Sophia makes it big, not only am I proud of her, I'm excited for her. I love seeing what she's posting. But if I'm her friend, guess what? There may be an opportunity. Maybe Sophia 10 years from now becomes a director. She decided she got tired of being a superstar actress. She's over that. She's bored. She's made millions of dollars, and the red carpets are fun, but they're boring now. I want to be a director. Maybe Sophia wants to be a director. Maybe she wants to be a writer. Maybe she decides I'm going to write the perfect movie. I want to do that. She's shaking her head no. Well, you never know. Maybe years go by and you want to be a director. So guess what? She writes a movie. Her and I are good friends. We've hung out a few times together. Whenever I'm in her area, we catch up and grab coffee and stuff. And guess what? She's like, Jeremy, I got this great movie that I'm writing, and the studios love it, and they're buying it from me, and I wrote you a part. You're one of my characters in that movie. That's how this industry works. It happens like that all the time, you guys. It's about who you know. It really is. It's about who you know. And I know this for a fact, even with my job as a manager, my job is to get my clients in front of the right people. And if I knew everybody, how awesome would that be? I would be like the world's best manager, right? If I had every A-list celebrity on my phone and every casting director and every director on my phone, would that be valuable to my clients? Absolutely. I'd be like, hey, I have a client, Sophia. Martin, hey, you got to reach out to Sophia. She's got to be in your next movie. She's amazing, right? It's about who I know, but it's also about who you know. As an agent, as a manager, we work on commission. We get a small percentage of what you guys make. You guys make most of the money, and I make this much of your money. You guys give me a commission whenever we get you booked on something. You guys should be doing this much of the work. I should be doing this much work, right? That's the reality of it. It's about who you know. It's about who you're networking with. It's about who you're meeting along the way. It's about making friends. So even within this program, I want you guys to make friends. At your showcase, I want you guys to make friends because you never know. You never know who you're going to meet along the way. One day, that guy who's holding the microphone for you on set, he's got that boom microphone and he's got that big pole and the microphone's hanging. That guy might be going to school as a director to become a camera operator, right? And he's just working because he loves being on set. And so he's working in this rate and he's holding your microphone on his summer vacation. He's working on a movie set holding a microphone, right? That guy could be the next big superstar director or producer or something. So be friendly to everybody you meet. Be kind to everybody you meet. And it's going to get you a long ways. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to network. You're going to be able to grow faster. This industry is like a snowball rolling down the hill. And I'm sure some of these other agents or classes that workshops that you've been on might say the same thing. Once you get that momentum, and that's, say you're that snowball, once that momentum starts happening, it just grows exponentially and it starts going faster and faster. And that's how this business works. It's always hard to get started, but once you do get started, it does move in the right direction. So that being said, I hope you guys got some good information about your workshops, about your showcases, about everything happening in the program. Let's open it up for a few questions, you guys. If you want to type in some questions in advance, I have about 15 minutes. I can answer some questions for you. The hand was called The Thing. That's right, The Thing. Thank you for reminding me. Any questions from anyone? Anybody want to ask a question? Okay, do you need to attend the whole weekend or just one day? Good question. No, you can just attend the showcase day, like the performance wise. But remember what we just talked about. It's more than just that performance. It's more than just showing up and doing your commercial and then leaving, or walking the runway and then leaving. It's about being in the group, meeting people, networking. These weekends are set up for like kind of networking types of events. And also it's going to get you more prepared. So I do really encourage you to be there for the whole weekend if you can. If you can't be there in person or be there for the whole entire weekend, I understand. People have schedules. People are busy. People have obligations. I've heard everything. Believe me, trust me, I've heard everything. I've heard people say, hey, I have a program I'm a part of. I'm a lead in a community theater play that's happening, and I'm not available the whole weekend. I can only be there for the showcase. I get that. That's fine. Or stuff comes up, or their flight got delayed and they weren't there for the whole weekend. But I encourage you to be there the whole time as much as possible. You're going to get the most out of it, and you're going to feel the most comfortable because you're nervous, you're excited. If you're there for the weekend, by the time you guys perform, hopefully some of that nervousness is gone because you've met the other performers and you've seen how it's going to be set up, and you're in the room that you're going to be performing in. So you're familiar with it. So there's definitely something to it. It's almost like having a dress rehearsal. You know how you do, like if you're a part of a production and they do the dress rehearsal, that's really to work out all the details, but also to make you more comfortable as a performer, to get you ready to go. So yeah. How many headshots? Honestly, I just need one. I want one good headshot for my clients. When you go and get headshots done, you're probably going to have a variety. And I ask my talent, I always say, hey, if they tell me, hey, Jeremy, I'm going to go get some new headshots done. I got a photographer scheduled next week. I'll send you the images. I'm like, great. Don't send all of them to me. I know how tempting that can be. I don't want to see 300 images. I want you just to look through and pick out your favorite 10 and send your favorite 10 to me. And I'm going to look through those 10. If there's something I love, I'm going to keep that and we'll use that. If all 10 of those are not perfect, I'll say, hey, send me a few more. So don't send me 300. I just don't have time to sit and look through 300 of your images. You do some of the work yourself and then bring me the best ones. But for the showcase, I just want one. I just need one headshot. I want to see one headshot. If I give you a call back and ask you to send me headshots, just pick one. That's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to see what you have. And if it needs to be a different one, we'll talk about that. I just want to get a good idea of what your headshot looks like. Now, don't send me the selfie and don't send me the one that does not look like you. All right. I've had that happen a lot. I'm like, who's this person? This person looks 20 years younger. Wait, I met you. This isn't you anymore. Or I've seen the opposite. I've seen people send me headshots and look so much older than they really are. I'm like, wait a second. Aren't you 22? Why does this look like you're 45? Like, let's not do that. We want headshots to be good representations of who you are as a person right now. I don't want it to be touched up. I guess the best example would be like the pageants, the beauty pageants. Have you seen like the little girl beauty pageants and those photo shoots? I've seen people because they've submitted headshots to me. Like, I got these headshots, and it's like their 10-year-old daughter at a beauty pageant, and they look 32 because they have like 500 layers of makeup and their hair is all done up and they're just like wearing these like prom dresses. And I'm like, isn't she 10? That's not what I'm looking for. That might be good in the pageant world, but that's not what I need something that represents who you are today, what you look like currently. And when that changes, I need new headshots. So for example, for me, I used to have long, beautiful hair, believe it or not, back in the day, but I don't anymore. So if I were to submit my headshot with a full head of hair, and then the casting calls me in, wow, what a great looking guy. Yeah, we need this guy. And then I show up like I am today. They're going to be like, well, you're better looking today for sure, but we wanted you with the hair. Actually, example would be if I shaved my beard. If I submit my headshot and then I shave my beard, and all of a sudden they're like, well, where's the beard guy? We called him in because of that beard, and you don't have that today. So if your look drastically changes, make sure you update your headshots, keep them current. Yeah. So somebody asked if they're going to meet me at the showcase. Of course, if I'm going to be at the Germany showcase. So if you guys are going to be there, I'm going to be there in person. I'm going to get a chance to see you guys. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to some good German brats. I love the food when I travel the world, I always like to eat the most authentic that I can. I never go to McDonald's. I can have McDonald's any day I want. Why would I do that when I'm in Australia or when I'm in Germany? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to eat the good food that's local. All right. How do you record the best tapes as an actor? That's a good question. That's hard. It just takes practice. Honestly, just do it as much as possible. I would encourage you once a week to challenge yourself, do a self-tape challenge. Say, okay, it's Monday. By Friday, I'm going to have a self-tape. Let me practice that. And literally go pull some script off the internet, one that you've never heard of before, and type into Google commercial script. I'm sure there's going to be a million of them, right? Pick one, try to memorize it, because this is exactly what happens to my clients every single week. I had 6 of them have auditions this week. 6 of my clients had an audition, And all it was is the casting sends me the script. Congratulations, your client has an audition. Here's the script. So they send me the script. I send it to my client and they give me a deadline. And so give yourself a deadline. Say, Friday, I'm going to have this taped. So you take the script on Monday, you look it up, you pull a random script up. This is the best way. And I want you guys to do this because the more you do this, the better and easier and quicker you get with it. Okay. Set up your camera, set up your lighting, set everything up, memorize your script, record yourself, look at it. Is that good? It's not that great. Let me do it again. I said a lot. I paused there. I shouldn't have paused there. So re-record yourself. Do it again. The first time you do this, it's going to take you a while. The 100th time you do this, you should be pretty quick with it. And so that's what I want my clients as a potential client. I want you guys to be quick with it. I don't want to take all your day to do an audition. I want you to be quick with it. And speed is always best, you guys. I promise you. This last weekend, there was an audition that came across my desk. I literally submitted on it within 20 minutes of seeing it. And my client, this is the fastest time this has ever happened to me. My client got a call back for submission on it an hour later. I have never, ever had that happen to me before. And I think what happened is, this is for a TV show. What happened was, I think that I was one of the first ones to actually submit on it because it was the weekend. And I just happened to be on the site and I just happened to have it in front of me and it popped up. And I think because of that, my client got the audition being one of the first people to submit. Because guess what? All the other agents and managers are probably having fun on the weekend, spending time with their families. But me, I was working for my clients. That's what I do for you guys. No, I just happen to be on there. And so speed is always good. So when I send my clients auditions, I have clients that sometimes I send auditions and an hour later they're sending it back to me. That blows my mind. And I'm just their rep. And so of course what I do is I fire it off to casting really fast. Here you go. Because I want them to see that we're fast. We're efficient. Call my clients anytime you want. We'll be fast. No, but they love that. Casting loves that when they get responses that quickly. And I understand that you guys have lives. You guys are busy. You have school, you have work. There's times where I go 2 or 3 hours. I'm not able to check my emails. I don't expect you to be checking your emails every 5 minutes, and messages. Like I've been on here with you guys for an hour, almost an hour and a half, and I haven't looked at I got a couple text messages, but I haven't looked at my emails. So I understand you don't have to answer everything quickly, but try to do it as quickly as you can. Let's see, somebody else asked. Let me try to get through a few more questions here. So yeah, so self-tapes, work on it, practice. It's just like anything else in this life. The more you practice, the better you'll get with it. Oh, can you get recommendations for headshots? Yes and no. So, if this person asks, Winnie, you asked if you go to the showcase, you get a call back and the rep wants headshots from you, could you ask for a referral? You're in Canada. I know people, I work with people all over the world, right? And I can give you referrals to some great headshot photographers in LA, in New York. Those were I had my studios, and I know a lot of guys in those areas. I also know of a few guys I've worked with in Australia. I know a few guys I've worked with in Ireland and different parts of the world, but not necessarily specific to your area. So what you have to do is you have to go online. There's lots of photographers everywhere around the world. There's always good photographers. Really, wherever you're at, there should be a good photographer. Don't go into like a portrait studio. You want to make sure that they know what they're doing with headshots. Look at their portfolios online and just see if there's basic headshots, nice basic headshots. If you see that there's awesome, creative, artsy stuff, that's great, but that's not what I need. I don't need the artsy creative. I need a headshot. That's what I want, is a professional headshot. So look at the photographers who do have experience with headshots. A lot of the real estate headshot photographers, people who do those sorts of things, like the professional corporate headshots of corporate people, like real estate agents who need headshots done and stuff like that. Those are the types of photographers you want to look for. So Google real estate photography, maybe, see what comes up, or do some searches, and you should be able to look at that up. Last thing I want you to do is to spend, I had a friend of mine come to me once. He's like, man, I just spent $1,700 on my headshots. I sent them to my agent. My agent said to redo them. I've had that, I promise you. I don't want you to spend $1,700 on headshots and not get the right ones. So make sure that you look for a headshot photographer. Nothing creative, nothing fancy. Wedding photographers, I like to be really creative and take beautiful images, and that's fine with what they do, but that's not for you as an actor or actress. Okay, so somebody asked if they booked a photo shoot for the showcase. Yeah, so Denise provides photographers at your showcase weekends, which is great because you know you're going to get taken care of. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do the searches and make sure you're finding the right person. You're going to make sure that you get taken care of. You'll get an updated headshot, and those will be the ones that we'll be using. Do I have to print myself? So everything's done electronically, so that you'll be submitting electronic copies of those. Now, just so you know, because I've been to enough of these showcases, the photographer will take your images, and then you'll get a link to all of them, and they will just be the raw images. So like me, if I took a photo right now of me, I look great, of course, but a little touch up won't hurt. A little brightening of the eyes, a little whitening of the teeth, a little lightening of the skin is always great. I always want a professional touch-up of your images, but again, I don't want it to look fake. And I've seen touch-ups where I'm like, okay, that's weird. You look plastic on this. I'm looking at you and I'm looking at your headshot, and there's just too much touch-up. We want it to look natural. The touch-up, we don't want it to look overly done. If you're looking at it and this is like, oh, this is great. Again, just some basic blemish removal, softening of the skin is fine. A little highlight on the eyes, make your eyes pop a little bit, but you don't want it to be like, I've seen eyes where they look like they're glowing. And I wish I had an example of a bad headshot, but I'm looking at this person and it looks like they're like vampires. They have just like pure white eyes. And in human world, we don't have just like these pure white eyes. I'm like, wow, that's scary. Like your eyes, it's too much touch up. So you guys kind of understand a little bit of that. Are you allowed to make up your own monologue? Somebody asked. Yes, absolutely. You can write your own monologue. It is important to have material that's relative, that you're relating to. Okay. You can choose the wrong monologue. You can choose the wrong commercial. Actually, everybody that's ever written a monologue, they've actually been pretty good. I love those writers out there who want to write their own monologue. There is a time frame though that is in your manual. So if you write your own monologue, make sure it's not like 5 minutes long. All right. You're gonna have to cut it down. There's going to be a time frame in the manual that tells you how long your monologue should be. But the material, how could it be chose the wrong material? If you're acting today or if you're singing, is there a wrong material to choose from? And the answer is yes. And what I mean by that, a great easy example for you guys to hopefully understand would be, for me, if I was performing a commercial as a actor and I got up and I did a Bic razor commercial. Bic razors, they're the perfect razor for the cleanest shave possible. You guys are all like looking at me going, when's the last time you shaved? So is that the wrong commercial for me to choose? Yes. And the reason is I would not be auditioning for that commercial, because if I had an agent and he submitted me with this full beard, and they would not be choosing me unless they wanted somebody to like a before and after. And then they would probably say to me, Jeremy, would you be willing to shave your beard? I'm like, no, this is my beard. No, I'm not willing to do that. So then I wouldn't be in that commercial. Or another example would be shampoo. Pantene shampoo, the best shampoo for the most luscious locks, whatever the commercial says. That's not the right commercial for me. So pick out something that's appropriate for you, something that's along your age demographic or product that you would use. I had an 8-year-old do the 101 Dalmatian monologue where she was the evil. What's her name? What's the character 101 Dalmatians? Oh, Cruella DeVille. So I had an 8-year-old do this Cruella DeVille monologue, and I'm like, okay, that was cute. I liked it, but you're 8 and you would not be auditioning for Cruella DeVille. Cruella DeVille is the most evil villain of all of Disney villains. She kills puppies. Right? Out of all the villains out there, I don't care if you're turned into a toad or they put you to sleep for years and years. Killing puppies, that's evil. So Cruella DeVille is the most evil of all Disney villains. We can all agree on that. But anyways, so an 8-year-old's trying to do the most evil villain of all of the Disney characters. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't the right monologue for you. So make sure that it's age appropriate. Make sure it's something along the lines of a character that you would be actually maybe auditioning for. Somebody that's in your age range. The same with singing. I touched on singing a minute ago, but same with singing. I don't want a 5-year-old boy who gets up to sing. Obviously, he's not going to be a rock star next week, next month, because He's 5, right? His voice is still maturing, but the fact that he has the courage to get up and sing and it's cute, that's really what it comes down to, is showing that he likes to perform. But I don't want him singing about drowning his sorrows in his beer because his girlfriend left him, like a country song. He's 5. He A, should not be drinking beer, and B, should not have a girlfriend who just left him. He shouldn't be that heartbroken. He'll find another one on the playground next week, okay? So pick out the right music choices or pick out the right material for you. Biggest tip for young performers, honestly, just be yourself. And this is for every performer. All you can be is you. That's all you can be. I've had auditions happen where the person didn't get the call back, and I happen to know the casting director. So I'll ask casting directors if they're friends of mine. If I know who they are, I'll reach out and say, hey, why didn't you give my client a call back? What happened? And I've heard all things. He was too tall. Can you help that if you're too tall? It doesn't mean he did a bad job. He was just too tall. He did all the work, he did all the effort. And that's why I want you guys to be quick with auditioning, because imagine if my client spent 10 hours making this perfect audition and then casting's like, oh, he's too tall, right? That was 10 hours of his life that he can't get back. And I want you to be good with auditioning and quick with it, and be able to knock out the audition tapes and move on with your life. And my best advice to my clients is, when you do an audition, give it 100% your best effort, be in a great mood, be focused, do the best you can, and then just forget about it. Try to do that as best as you can, because that's the reality of this industry. Is you're going to hear a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of auditions, and you're not going to hear yes every time. And it's not about your performance, not who you are. I've heard all kinds of stuff. She was too pretty. That was another one I've heard. I hate it when that happens. It happens to me all the time. He's too good looking. No, I'm just kidding. No, but again, is that her fault for being too pretty? They're trying to match them up in campaigns. Like maybe it's an advertising campaign for models, and they're trying to make them look like a family. So they have to pick out the one model that looks like the other family. And if one person's super beautiful and the other family is not, you can't do anything about being too pretty. Well, that's just who you are. That's the gift that God gave you. So just be yourself, do the best you can all the time, and just know that it's not always about you. It's not, they have to say no to everybody but one. That's just the way it is. So for the showcase, do we prepare dialogue? Yes. So everybody at the showcase, you have different categories. Some of you will be modeling, some of you will be singing, some will be dancing, whatever it is that you're registered for. Okay. So that's what you need to come prepared for. So whatever your paperwork is, unfortunately, I don't have any of that information in front of me, so I can't help you with that today. Maybe you already had a commercial prepared, right, for your audition, and then you come to the showcase with the same commercial. That's fine if that's your favorite commercial. But I want you to do your favorite commercial. Pick out a product that you enjoy. Make it fun. This is the time that you get to choose your own material. When my clients got material this week, there was the auditions I told you about. They didn't get to choose any of those material. Here's the monologue. Here's the material. Here's what we want you to memorize. You don't get to pick that. That's just what they send. But for your showcase, if you're going to be performing a commercial or a monologue, you get to choose your own material. This is like the one time you get to choose your own material. So please do. Don't just be, oh, I memorized the Nike commercial because that's the one I memorized for my audition. So that's the one I'm going to do. Like, no, challenge yourself. Have fun. Look at the different commercials. If you don't see one you like on the commercial scripts that are on the website, then Google them. There's plenty of commercial scripts. Let's see, let's get through a couple more and I'm going to dismiss you guys. Good agencies in Berlin. Yeah, of course, there's definitely good agencies everywhere in the world. And that's why I work with talent worldwide as a manager, because my job is to get you, if you work with me as a manager, the first thing I want to do is make sure you have good agencies that work with you, because that's going to give you more reps. That's going to give you more people, more eyes on you. I'm not everywhere all at once. So maybe there's an audition that I might miss that your agent will see, or they have connections that I don't have. They have networking that they've done that I don't necessarily have those connections with. So that's what this is all about, is getting you guys good agents. And yeah, so those of you who live in Berlin, absolutely, there's definitely good agents that are there. Denise makes sure that your showcases that you guys have good reps that are going to be there that do work in your area or on a worldwide level. So you don't have to worry about that for your showcases. On these workshops, sometimes you're going to meet people on these workshops, some of the agents that are going to be here. Maybe that particular agent won't be able to work with you if you're in a different part of the world and they can only work in maybe 3 areas of the world and maybe you're not in one of those 3 areas, but that's still fine. You're still learning from them. You're still getting a chance to ask them questions and you still get a chance to meet them and you never know. You never know what can happen. They might transfer agencies. Maybe they loved you and they just, oh, I can't work with her because she's in Iceland and then we just don't work in Iceland. And agents switch agencies. There's ones that a year later, they're working at another agency and I see agent friends of mine, they're like, yeah, I made the switch. I'm now working here. And maybe that agency can now work with you. And so they might call you back 3 months later, 6 months later. I'm going to reach out to Angelo this week. I saw him a couple of years ago. So you just never know. Always know that you're networking at all times because you never know what can happen. Somebody asked, oh, are models supposed to perform commercial scripts? Good question. If you're only modeling, no, you're just going to be walking the runways. But models, good question. I do want you to learn commercial scripts. I do want you to practice self-tapes. And here's the reason why. As a model, if you're a client of mine and you're interested in modeling, great, that's awesome. I work with a lot of models. I love it. But I see beauty commercials especially come across my desk all the time and they're looking for models. I was at a casting once in LA. I wasn't even a part of it. I was actually going to see an agent friend of mine. I'll never forget this because it's stuck in my mind. It's so funny. I was in one of the casting offices off Hollywood Boulevard in LA. And I walked in there and the hallway was full of models preparing for their casting. They were all tall, beautiful women preparing for an audition and they're memorizing lines. And this is an example of, this is an audition, it was for a TV commercial, but they wanted a model. And this happens all the time. And so as a client, I only get paid when you work. So if you're my client, if you're a model, I'm going to submit you on print work all the time. But if I see there's an audition for a model, they're looking for somebody beautiful like you in your demographic, and they want you to memorize a commercial for this audition, I'm going to submit you on that. Or I'm first going to ask you, hey, would you be okay with doing an audition for a commercial? And commercials are great. They're usually one line. They're usually a couple hours of work. I see a cat there. I love it. Calico, Amelie. Amelie, your cat's joining us. He's looking right in the camera. So yeah, so yes, please models, you don't have to, you're not going to be performing a commercial at your showcase if you're just modeling, but I do want you to learn this and practice this. Practice this. This is not something that you're just going to pick up right away. It does take a little bit of work and put yourself on camera, self-tape yourself doing a commercial. Get used to it. It feels weird at the beginning. It feels awkward. It feels uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the better you'll get with it. Now, one other thing too, I want to just briefly touch on that. This modeling event I was at in this casting office, the one thing that stuck out of my mind, not that that was any weird or different, is they were practicing lines in Japanese. These are all American women and none of them spoke Japanese. So they had a script. I asked my friend, what's happening next door? Because it's a language I don't speak. And I'm hearing these beautiful women like all have scripts in front of them and all they're pacing, they're walking up and down the hallways, they're saying it out loud and it's in Japanese. What is happening? He goes, oh, they're casting for a Japanese commercial and they wanted an American model to speak Japanese that doesn't know Japanese and it's supposed to be funny. And you know, I'm not in Japan, but I know that the Japanese culture and humor is a little different than what it might be in America. But I can see how they can. This is probably a very popular commercial. It's probably out there today. It might be like a world famous Japanese commercial that was taken place years ago. But yeah, so that's an example. Hopefully, you don't have to do a commercial in Japanese if you don't speak Japanese. But that's one example of what could happen. So yeah, that wraps up my time. I have to go. I'm actually running a few minutes late. I do have another meeting to meet with you guys, but hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. I love seeing you guys. I love meeting you guys. And I can't wait to see you guys in person or in the next Zoom session or whenever that might be. So those of you who are going to be in Munich, wave at me if you're going to be in person in Munich out there. Awesome. I love it. I'm going to see you guys next weekend.